Hey there, everybody. Welcome. Hi, I'm Jenny from Harmony Hills Home and Garden. And as you know, I live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, which is in Zone 7B. And I am so excited today. This is my first ever live stream on YouTube for this channel. And I am really excited to be celebrating my channel's first birthday on YouTube. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yay! That's the extent of the partying atmosphere that I have prepared for you. I don't have cake. I don't have drinks or snacks. Actually, I have myself water, and I think there's some pretzels over there if I get starving. But I just wanted to welcome all of you who are already here. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for tuning in. And as folks come and go, I'm going to do my best to keep my eye on the chat stream. However, I don't have a moderator on this particular live stream, and it's just me watching the chat. And I don't know about you guys, but when I tune in to YouTubers' live streams and all they do is say, "Hi, so and so from so and so," and then they get distracted and call over there again, "Hi, so and so from so and so," etc. And that goes on for minutes. I just feel like that might not be the best use of your time, and it might not make the most interesting YouTube live stream you've ever seen. So, anyway, I'm planning to just speak on a couple of topics just for a few minutes, and then I'll check out the comment section and see if there are any questions over there that I can answer. Okay, so who am I and why should you care? I'm Jenny. I live in Baltimore, as you know, and I am in my mid 50s, and I've been a gardener since I think since we had our first apartment as a married couple, which was, we got married young. I was 18, my husband was 21 when we got married, and we were in an apartment in a college dorm owned apartment for married couples. And I think that is when I started gardening for the first time, because I filled up a container full of impatiens and I put them out on my the front of our apartment door. And then I promptly forgot to water them ever or pay attention to them. I'm sure they died. And then the next thing I know, I'm living in Maryland in an apartment. And again, I started trying to garden then in containers on my porch patio, but I knew nothing. And I spent a lot of money on plants that died like 4 days later. So then, fast forward, we bought our first house as a young married couple with a baby on the way. And in that house, we lived there for 11 years, and it was a fifth of an acre in a suburban area in Columbia, Maryland. And it came with mature trees, which I loved, and it came with some beautiful flowering trees and a strip of a flower bed in front of the front walk. You have all seen this, right? The front walk goes from the driveway across the house to the front door. And in front of that and behind that front walk, there were some planting beds. And so that's where I started gardening for the first time. I tried all kinds of annuals. I tried all kinds of perennials. I had really hit or miss success with things. In fact, I don't think I have any pictures of that little garden. This is way back before I knew anything. It was before the internet. That's how long ago it was. I had some books that I checked out from the library. My sister-in-law had given me a big stack of old issues of Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And I would go through all those, and I would pull out all of the pictures and try to make a scrapbook idea book for all the things that I wanted in my garden. And, I think I subscribed to Southern Living magazine and a couple of other magazines. And that's all the information I had about how to do gardening. So pretty much everything I've learned in the years has been from trial and error. Lots of trial and lots of error. And over the time, I guess it's been about, I would say, 30 years that I've been really gardening in the ground at a house. I've learned so much just from trying something and seeing if it works. Of course, then you have to, enter the internet and then YouTube and so forth. And so now, of course, we all have access to so much more information online. We can watch TV channels, we can watch YouTube channels, we can watch websites and blogs. And there's just so much more information about how to do good gardening and how to make your yard beautiful for landscaping, how to do vegetable gardening, all of that. It's just so much out there. So I've been learning more and more and more over specifically the last 2 years. I think some of us have this similar story during the pandemic. Some of us have lost our normal hobby and we had to come into a different hobby that we could do online. And so for me, that was I started watching YouTube gardening channels. And excuse me. And so I've learned a whole lot of things about gardening in the last 2 years that I didn't know before from the 30 years prior of trying and seeing what worked and what didn't. So that's who I am as a gardener. In other parts of my life, I am a retired person. I worked for the US government for 24 years and then I retired in 2013. Um, it's early retirement. I was only 45, but I retired because my husband took a position in another state. So we had to move to Raleigh, North Carolina. And I thought, you know what? I've got other things I want to do. So I retired and I haven't been in the workplace since then. And it's been wonderful for my gardening efforts, I have to say. Uh, the other part of my life that is a huge major part. Okay, first I have to mention all my family. We have 2 kids. They're both grown now and they're both out on their own. One lives in Philadelphia and one lives in Minnesota. And if you've been watching the channel for the last year or so, you know that our kids in Minnesota, my son is married to a wonderful girl named Beth, and they have 2 beautiful children, and they are doing gardening in their home in St. Paul, Minnesota as well. My other kid is not married and lives in an apartment in Philadelphia, and there's no gardening happening there. Um, so my family is very important to me. I have sisters, I have brother-in-laws, I have my father-in-law is still alive, my parents and my mother-in-law have passed away. Lots of extended family around the country. So that is really important to me. Second important to that, though, is my life as a sweet Adeline. I sing as a hobbyist. I am not a soloist. I am not an expert. I sing for a hobby, for enjoyment, and Sweet Adelines is the place where I do that. It's a worldwide organization of singers who sing in 4-part harmony, barbershop quartet style. Of course, we sing other music besides barbershop music as well. And I joined Sweet Adelines, I think, I want to say 2003. So I'm coming up on 20 years. That's crazy. Wow. Coming up on 20 years in Sweet Adelines. And in that time, I sing in a chorus called Harbor City Music Company. By the way, you should definitely look up all of these things online and maybe you'd be interested to see what they do. Harbor City Music Company show chorus is here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I've been singing there since 2003. And then I started a quartet. Well, my 3 friends and I started a quartet, and that quartet is called Lustre, Lustre. And you can find us at lustre.com. And we started in 2005, and we were novice singers, beginners, and we stayed together and learned and learned and learned. In Sweet Adelines, the main way that you achieve education on how to be a better performer is to go to competition and be evaluated. And so my quartet and I, we went to competition every year that we had an opportunity to do so. Eventually, we made it out of the regional level and we find ourselves competing at the international level. And there's an international convention most years when there's no pandemic. There's an international convention in usually in October, sometimes September, sometimes November. And we found ourselves there, and we found ourselves in the top 10, and then we found ourselves in the top 5. And then finally, in October of 2017, my quartet won the international championship in Sweet Adelines. And so since then, I started directing another small chorus. I've become a member of the International Board of Directors of Sweet Adelines. And I've done a lot of coaching and teaching and mentoring, and I love it. I love it. Sweet Adelines absolutely changed my life. So if you love to sing, please check out sweetadelines.com and see if there's a place near you where you can go to sing. Okay, so now we're back to gardening, back to YouTube. So when the pandemic hit in the spring of 2020, I found myself unable to do the thing I love, which is be a Sweet Adeline, because singing is a high-risk activity for COVID transmission. And the big news all over the world about this super spreader event of a barbershop chorus. It was a men's chorus, not a women's chorus, but in Washington State in March of 2020, where so many members came down with COVID. Some of them died, and that really put into the forefront of the headlines about how singing is a super spreader event, and all singing activities were put on hiatus. All kinds of organizations, church choirs and barbershop groups and community chorales and school-based programs, all of the singing around the world had to stop. the ensemble singing, because it was a spreader event for COVID. So, what do you do when you've built your life around singing as a Sweet Adeline? So, everything I was doing was either I was a member singing somewhere, or I was a director singing somewhere, or I was a quartet member singing somewhere, or I was a coach helping others sing somewhere. That's what I did. And so, I needed something to fill the void in COVID. So, I went out to the garden. I had always been a gardener, and I've always been trying to make every home I live in look beautiful. But COVID, man, I really dived in deep, and so 2020 went by. I think a lot of us thought that the pandemic would be over by the end of 2020. I mean, early in 2020, we all thought that it wouldn't last this long. So in January of 2021, actually, it was over the Christmas holidays, I think, that year. I looked in the future and I thought, okay, this COVID thing, we're still going to have it. We're still going to be dealing with this. I need a new thing. I need a hobby. I need something. And during 2020, I think many of you probably have seen these virtual choir things that came out on social media in March, April, May, June timeframe of 2020. Early in the pandemic, singing organizations quickly figured out how to do virtual choirs. And that means that individuals would record their music, make a video of themselves, and then record their voice singing. And then somebody would edit those all together and put them up in a video that featured all of the singers and mixed their voices all together. I'm here to tell you that that was a lifeline. I participated in a lot of virtual chorus activities, virtual choirs, virtual singing. In 2020, that was a big deal. That was a way that I stayed connected to my singing hobby. But I'm also here to tell you that that is no way anywhere close to giving you the satisfaction that you get when you actually are standing together in a group singing as an ensemble. The virtual choir thing has benefits, but none of those benefits are the same as the benefits that you get when you're in person. So during all of that time, I had learned how to use some software to mix those virtual choir things together for the small course that I direct, for some of my friends, for some small groupings of people. And I learned how to use video editing software for that. And so then in December, when I saw that the pandemic is not going away anytime soon, I'm not going to get back to singing anytime soon in person, I needed something. And so I started watching YouTube videos for garden channels. And then I started thinking, well, I know how to edit software. How to edit videos, and I love to garden. I probably could make some YouTube videos, couldn't I? I probably have the skills required for that. And so that's when I decided to start my channel. A year ago today, I posted my first video. That was an overview of our property. And it is the very first thing I published. I think in the first week, I got about 20 views on that. It's still one of the lowest viewed videos on the channel, but that's okay. That's okay. And kind of, you might say the rest is history as far as how the channel got underway. I had the time, I had the interest, I had the energy, I had nothing else going on. So I might as well put my heart and soul into this YouTube channel. So I feel like I've been talking for a really long time. So I'm going to glance over into the comment section over here and see what's happening over here. So hello to everybody who's joined in the last few minutes. It's really nice to have you here. I'm looking for questions. So if you do have questions, maybe restate them and put a few question marks at the beginning. And so then I'll know to look for that comment as a question. Otherwise, I'll probably just be glancing over these comments and appreciating the fact that they're there. And then after this live stream is over, I'll probably go back and read them all individually. I see one question here. What is my favorite YouTube garden channel? I have a lot of favorite YouTube garden channels. It's like asking, which is your favorite child? I mean, they all have their pros and cons, right? I love to watch gardening channels where I see the gardening happening. So I tend to favor videos where someone is actually doing the physical work of gardening right then and there. I love to be shown how to do new things, and I love to watch the before and after occur through the video. And so for that reason, a lot of my favorite YouTube channels are like Garden Answer, of course. I think a lot of us like Garden Answer. Although I'll say that like anything in life, there is no such thing as the only way, the perfect way, the best answer. this is how you must do something. And so sometimes I look at Garden Answer and I think to myself, would I do it that way? And I think that's the mark of a good kind of learner, right? As you're learning skills, yes, do it the way someone tells you how to do it until you know something else. But when you've tried some things and then you see how it works in your yard or your garden and it doesn't work the way that it was advertised from the person from whom you learned that, so then you can start to think, well, maybe I could try this a different way. And so I love Garden Answer. I watch them religiously. Every morning I wake up, I go downstairs, I make my coffee, I turn on Garden Answer. That's my morning routine. Definitely. But again, just nobody's perfect out there. So it's okay to do things differently than what you see. Okay, some of my other channels. Well, I'll just tell you who I subscribe to. I watch Gardening with Creekside. That's Jenny and Jerry down in North Carolina. They own a grower retailer garden center in the mountains of North Carolina. So I watch them all the time. I watch Jim Putnam on HortTube. He is a former landscaper, former nurseryman, and now he has a YouTube channel where he talks about gardening in his Raleigh, North Carolina garden. I watched Danielle from North Lawn Flower Farm. She's north of me about 2 hours up in Amish country of Pennsylvania, and I love her videos. She's so beautiful, and she speaks so poetically. Not like me. I'm just a mile a minute spewing words out. I don't have a poetic bone in my body. But Danielle, she speaks in poetry, and so it makes me wonder: does she script and then memorize her videos? No, I don't think she does. I think she just speaks that way, comes at her life from a poetic side of things. Her gardens are so beautiful, and that is kind of what I'm aspiring to from the perspective of she does cut flower farming, but she does it on a very small scale in the landscape setting. She has a few dedicated raised beds to her cut flowers, but she also integrates her cut flowers into her landscape and uses them to sell, but she also does it in a way that her landscape is beautified by that. So that's what I'm going to aspire to do in my garden as well. And I've interacted with Danielle in Messenger a few times on a few different subjects, and she's just a lovely person and so helpful. She's a master gardener. By the way, I also watch Erin from The Impatient Gardener. She's a master gardener as well in Wisconsin. Who else? I'm subscribed. You can go to my YouTube channel, go across, and when you see where it says channels, you can see who all I subscribe to. It's I don't know, probably 100 different garden channels. But the ones that come up in my feed every morning are the ones that I mainly watch. There's a few that I skim, and sometimes I skip their videos, but there's something to be learned from everything you watch, whether it's something you want to try or something you definitely don't want to try. That's good too. It's good to know that. Okay, what's the most expensive plant I've ever bought? That would be the Harry Lauder's walking stick shrub that is in my north side garden right now. I bought it, I think it cost about $250 in a 1-gallon container. Was it one? Two. It was probably a 2-gallon container. $250. And I planted it in, that would have been the spring of 2016. So it's coming up on being, it'll be growing in its 7th season this year. And it's roughly 4 feet in diameter now. No, it's not. It's only 3 feet tall. It might be 3 feet. It's probably 3 feet in diameter. I bought it when it was probably 2 feet in diameter. And in those 6 years, it's grown 1 more foot in diameter. It's a very slow growing, expensive plant. I probably also bought, you know what? In the last, 2 houses ago, we hired a landscape designer who designed our property for us because it was a new build. We had nothing on the land. So we hired a designer, and then we put in what he suggested. And there were, I think, 7 trees that we put in that were pretty big. They had to be put in by the nursery contract guy. They came big. That one of them was already 2 stories tall. So those were probably the most expensive thing. And yes, those trees are all still living. But as far as a garden plant, probably that Harry Lauder's walking stick. And then beyond that, I don't really buy expensive plants. But I would say the most expensive things I've bought are probably either David Austin Rose or maybe a hellebore. I think the most expensive hellebore I bought was probably $30, and that really breaks my heart to do that. Let's see, other questions. Let me scroll. How big is my garden, and does my husband help me out in some things? My yard, our property is 0.53 acres, so just over a half an acre. It's roughly 200 feet by 75 or 100 feet. So 200 feet deep and about 100 or 75 feet wide, something along those lines. Now, about a quarter of that, maybe a third of that property is used up by our driveway. I'm looking out at the property here now. The side hill, the side yard on the south side, and the driveway, that takes up about a third, maybe half, roughly, of the property that we own. So that means that we are landscaping on about, I would guess, about a quarter of an acre. So our front yard is 85 feet from the street to the house, and it's about 70 feet wide. Our backyard is 100 feet from the back of the yard to the house, and it's in the backyard inside the fence. It's 40 feet wide. So, yeah. Okay, let's see what else. Am I winter sowing? Yes, I just planted my winter sowing containers, some of them. I don't have all of them yet. And I'll be putting videos up about winter sowing in this coming week. Let's see. Am I going to do more how-to videos, for example, terrarium garden tag videos? Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed those. You know what? I don't know. Pretty much, I just film what I'm doing in my garden, and sometimes when it's a slow period, like in the winter, I need something else to do, so I might as well do something crafty like that. So I probably will, but I don't have any ideas. If you have ideas for how-tos or DIYs that you'd like to see, let me know. I'd love to know what you like. Do I like the tricolor birch? I've been looking at one. They're ridiculously expensive. I understand that they're expensive here as well. I don't have any room to plant any more trees, so I don't have any need to look at the tricolor birches. I think they're beautiful. The other thing about trees, excuse me, in this property that we live in, first of all, our house is almost 100 years old. I think 97 years old right now. And a lot of the trees here, they're not that old, although we took down 2 huge 100-year-old trees last year. That's what started this whole backyard renovation. But most of the trees in our property, I would say, are probably 50 to 75 years old or younger. The oldest one's probably 50 years old. But they're very tall. They're taller than our house by a lot. We have a 3-story house. And there's a lot of just native trees that have self-seeded and volunteered, and no one ever cut them down. So, and our whole neighborhood's like that. So when I take the dogs on walks and I look at people's yards, I can see which trees are not native, and they really stand out in a maybe not positive way, because the whole neighborhood is filled with these native trees. We have elms and we have oaks and some evergreens things and black walnuts all over the place. And so when you see, a whole neighborhood filled with that same kind of, maybe 10 kinds of trees that are all native here, it really stands out. There's a neighbor across the way that has 3 river birches, the paper bark river birches, and they're just gorgeous trees. We've had those in our properties on other houses, and I love those trees. And, I would love to have one of those in my yard, but I don't think that those more modern, non-native cultivar trees really blend in with the historic nature of our neighborhood. So I probably won't go for that. Let's see, other questions. Love the episodes on the backyard reno. What did you find the most challenging in that project? Thank you. I would say, well, as far as physicality, the removal of the sod in the backyard was a challenge. Both my husband and I, sorry, I forgot to answer earlier. Yeah, my husband does help. He considers himself to be the crew, and I am the foreman. That's how our relationship is in the garden. He takes care of the grass, he digs holes for me, and he weeds a lot, and then he does whatever I ask him to do. He never prunes shrubs anymore. We've had more than one mishap with shrubs pruned at the wrong time of year and losing blossoms. But anyway, so the hardest thing was the removal of the sod. The second hardest thing was the design of it. I am looking at it in the winter when it's just bare bones, and I'm not happy with it. So I always get in my gardening life and in my home decor life and in a lot of things that require a creative, artistic mind. I watch other people and look at other ideas for inspiration. I learn some basic kind of like guidelines or rules of design. I try to apply them in my own life, whether it's in the garden or in my house or whatever I'm wearing for the day or whatever. And I just never feel like I really hit the mark. I often just feel I'm looking at the backyard right now and I just feel like it's just not quite, I don't know. So that is a hard thing. But as far as the work of it, removing the sod was very physically taxing for sure. Let's see. Dave's great. We want more Dave. Dave is great. Yes. He is a reluctant participant in the YouTube channel, I'll say. So I don't know how much more Dave will be seeing. Suggestion, beautiful interior. Please give us a tour of the inside of my house. I might do that sometime soon, but honestly, like I just said, first of all, I'm not confident in my decorating skills and I would never want anybody to think that I was. Second, it's a little creepy to know that people have seen inside your house that live across the world from you. Yeah, so I don't know. I have shown at Christmas time, I did a tour of our Christmas decorations, and the rooms that I showed there were the foyer, the dining room, the kitchen, the living room, and the sunroom downstairs, and then the TV room upstairs. And that might be the only part of the house that I'm comfortable showing. I don't know. You know, it's like YouTube, the internet, it's a weird thing, right? Because, you know, sometimes like I don't know. Sometimes I'll meet up with a person that I know only through the internet, like especially this happens in Sweet Adeline's, where we'll go to a convention and I'll meet a person who I'm Facebook friends with, but I've never met in real life. And they'll say, "Oh, I saw the thing about your dog and it was so cute." And I'm like, "How do you know about my dog?" And then I'm like, "Oh, right, the internet." So I'm not sure how much of the interior of the house I'll be showing on the channel. I'll give it some careful thought, and I appreciate that you're asking for it. The good thing about this is that it's a historic home, and I love showing it off. I don't claim any credit for any of the beauty of my home. We haven't even hardly painted anything to be ours, but you know. Anyway, I hope you understand that. Can I share some of my ideas for the season with my gardens? What am I planning? I just did a bunch of winter sowing, which I'll be publishing this coming week. And I'm going to try, I think I mentioned a minute ago, I might not have been clear, that I'm going to try planting more cut flowers, but integrating them into the landscape. So trying to, it's a challenge because I don't really have a whole lot of sun. So that might be something that happens, is maybe creating some more planting space out in the front yard where there is full sun. I haven't had that conversation with the husband yet, so we'll see about that. But so letting things grow that I planted last year, you know, it's so tempting to just keep stuffing the garden full of things, and they're all little babies, and they're all looking at them like, "Oh, there's so few of you. I need to plant more, plant more." But then I always have to remember, okay, no, in 3 years they're all going to be big and full and lush, unless they die, and then I'm going to have way too much, and I'm going to have to split. You know, so it's always a balance between putting more things in and waiting for them to just grow healthily. So as far as big projects, I will be planting the front yard north side that divides our house from our neighbors, where I started putting in the no dig beds along the side of our front yard. Be planting that up, maybe expanding it because I think that I made its shape too small. Maybe making a mirror image on the south side of the front yard between where the tree line down the hill goes and the front lawn. That might be more planting space I can eke out. As far as things that I want to do sometime in the future, I want to really, really concentrate on more of a woodland shade garden for the south side of the house, which is outside the sunroom windows along the street that goes along the long side of our property. I want to do better things in the driveway, along the sides of the driveway. I want to continue making behind the fence in the backyard look more like a naturalistic garden. There's a lot of trees back there that I put in for screening, but I'm also planning to put in more natives back there. That can be kind of the focus of the native area in the garden. And then I am on the fence about what I want to do about the backyard lawn. The reason we left the big oval shaped lawn with borders only around the edges is because when it's not a pandemic, we are singers. I am a singer, and I have people over and we do little concerts on that little stage down at the bottom of the garden. And that's something that I do 3 or 4 times every summer. And it's a great backyard for that because it slopes downward toward the corner. So the singers can be on the stage down on the bottom, and then the friends and people who come to watch can be on the hill in their lawn chairs going up like a little mini amphitheater. And so if I decide to go back to doing those either this year in 2022 or next year or beyond, I will need space for people to put their lawn chairs, and I want to maintain that. On the other hand, I've done that for 3 years in a row now. Am I kind of like done with that? Is it like been there, done that kind of an idea? Or should I leave the gardens ready to have more of those events? Or should I just say, you know what, that was a thing. It was in the past. Now we're in the new times and we're not doing that anymore. I don't know. So lots of ideas brewing, but I have no idea which of them are really, truly going to happen. I don't know if I missed this, but how do you choose your channel's name? How did I choose my channel's name? Well, so I live in Baltimore, on the west side of Baltimore, in a historic neighborhood called 10 Hills. And the reason it's called 10 Hills, nobody really knows. But the neighborhood's about 110 years old. Our house is about 97 years old. And 10 Hills neighborhood has lots of hills. I mean, the theory is that there are 10 hills in our neighborhood. I don't know. Anyway, so that's where we live. That's where our house is. And I sing barbershop style 4-part harmony music. And that's a major, 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 major part of my life. And so Harmony Hills just kind of fell into place because also we were doing the concerts in the backyard, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of fell together. When we moved into this house in 2015, I don't know, my husband and I have this little joke that we always, since we got married, we've named our house as if it's some ritzy, fancy chateau sort of, thing. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Who has a house that's named? I guess some people do. It's not a bad thing. It's just, in my life, in my circles that I go around in, nobody's house has a name. And so for joking reasons, my husband and I have always just kind of joked and named our house some sort of manor or whatever. So when we moved here, that was the time that I had retired 2 years before, and we were moving to 10 Hills. I was trying to dive in full-time into Sweet Adeline's work, and so Harmony Hills just fell in. I started a blog under this name first, so there is harmonyhillshomeandgarden.com, but I haven't really contributed to that blog in a long time, 5 years, something like that. Okay, let's see. Other questions. Did we get hit with snow today? We got about an inch, and the wind is blowing it off of all the trees, but we still have an inch that's melting everywhere. Let's see. Do we get slugs under the no-dig garden cardboard? I don't know. I haven't looked yet. I imagine we do because we have slugs everywhere else. Do I have any plans for a pond or a water feature? Okay, so if we decide not to do concerts in the backyard anymore, then the place where the stage is prime real estate for a pond, I think. Now, I know nothing about having a pond in the garden. I think I've heard that you should have it in full sun. Again, we don't have any full sun in this yard. There might be 4 square feet in the backyard that gets full sun. Literally, like maybe not even that. So if you have to have a pond in full sun, then I don't have a place for a pond. But I think there's a way that I could probably have a water feature type situation if it's got a lot of moving water, like the water feature that Laura had put in on Garden Answer, that she had put in beside her old gazebo. The one that didn't have a pool of water at it. It was just a fountain that came down a fake hill and into a basin that then drained down. I definitely could do that. I think having a pond in full sun is in order to help manage the algae growth, I think. I, again, know nothing about it. All I know about ponds is what I saw on PBS gardening shows when I was in college. Really, that's it. So I don't know. Let's see, what else? Are any tips on how I found success on YouTube, how to grow your channel? Bonnie, that's Bonnie, Artist in a Garden. By the way, if you don't follow Artist in a Garden, I highly recommend that you do. She lives in Ontario, Canada. She has just put in a beautiful greenhouse in her backyard. She also has a couple of other YouTube channels, Artist on a Harley, and one more. Bonnie, I can't remember what your other one is called. Sorry. So how did my YouTube channel work? I don't know. Sorry, that's not helpful, I know. So I started it in January of last year, and I put up a winter sewing video on February 5th. So it was like my third video ever. And that one went really crazy. It got a lot of views right away. And I think it's because I named it very simply, winter sewing. That's all it said. And I posted it at a time right when a bunch of people were trying to get started winter sewing. So it was timely. A lot of people were looking for that information, and my title probably got picked up by the search algorithm. So somebody goes to YouTube and says winter sewing in the search bar, mine exactly matched that and came up. And then I guess the only other thing that I would say is I was really very prolific video producer. In fact, I want to talk about the stats in just a minute, but I put up a lot of videos last year. So I have the luxury of not being employed outside the house. And so I had the time and the energy and the interest to do it. The other thing is find what you love, be yourself, and just don't try to have any. I'm not saying, Bonnie, that you do have this. So, but I'm just myself. And when I'm editing my videos, I keep some of the quirkiness of my personality in them because I think that's what sets a video apart from another person, right? I could do a video on winter sewing. Somebody else could do the exact same information on winter sewing, but mine's going to look and feel different because my personality is different. And so not trying to edit out those things that you worry are too quirky or too personality dependent. Don't edit those out, edit those in, and make sure that the viewer who's looking for something finds you, not just the information, but they find you as well. So that's my best advice. I think Sweet Adelines gave me so much confidence in front of a camera. I have never been nervous to speak in front of my YouTube camera, nor in front of this live session here or any other YouTube thing. I've never been nervous because I've been conditioned and trained in Sweet Adelines to be okay with being in front of people. So that's been great. All right. Well, thank you, Cassandra. You make YouTubing look easy and natural. Thank you. And I think that is the best advice, is just to try to be natural. Just be yourself. And if you are a person who gets stage fright for speaking in public, this is a great way to help get over that, because there's nobody behind the camera when you're doing your YouTube. I mean, you can be by yourself in a room with a tripod, and away you go. And then, you can just do it. Let's see. Other questions. Think about diving into African violets. Do I grow them, and would I recommend? Okay, my houseplant skills are definitely lacking. Yes, I have some pots that used to have African violets in them. That's how I'm going to say that. 3 months ago, I had 5 African violets. Now I have 2. So don't follow me on your African violet care regimen. Yeah, houseplants and I, we're learning. We're learning to get along. But I don't know, if you guys are outside gardeners, do any of you have this problem where your houseplants just kind of like have to suffer and be neglected in the summer, right? As soon as I'm out, if I can be outside and not be super hot or super cold, I'm going to be outside. And so in the summer, I'm outside. My houseplants, man, they have to be resilient in the summer because they don't get much loving from me. I love my pond. I had about 12 years now. I don't need full sun unless planning on growing water lilies. Mine is part sunshade. Sun encouragement. Ooh, that's really good to know. Thank you. So maybe if we get rid of the stage down there, that would be where I would put a water feature. Posting consistently. The first year is very slow growth usually, and then you take off if you have good content. Yeah, I agree with that. That's for sure. Again, going back to I posted a whole lot. Let me just give you some of my statistics. Last year, in the first year, yeah, as of today, this morning when I pulled these stats, I posted 250 videos in 1 year. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk, right? I mean, I don't do math in my head. I have a degree in mathematics. I don't do math in my head. What is that? 20 or more per month, right? 21 a month. That's a lot. So 232 of those were full-length videos, and then only 18 of those were shorts. I haven't gotten into the shorts game very well. So in the first year, I did 250 videos. That's a lot. And I don't necessarily recommend that to everybody, but being consistent is important. And actually, that's one of my goals for this coming year. I want to be more of a consistently scheduled YouTuber so that you guys know when to expect something from me. Thank you to those of you who reached out to me over the holidays and said, "Hey, Jenny, are you okay? I haven't seen a video for you in a while." I appreciate that so much. And I think it's because I had gotten into posting so regularly, at least 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. Then when they didn't show up, you guys were like, "Hello, are you okay?" Thank you for caring about me in that way. I just took some time off over the holidays and forgot to tell anybody. So, I appreciate that you were looking for me and didn't find me. So in the coming year, I'm hoping to get into a thing where it's like, you guys know that there will be a video on a certain schedule. And the reason I haven't done that yet is because one of my goals is to keep this a hobby. This is a hobby. I am not doing this for business. I mentioned earlier that the reason I started the YouTube channel is because I was bored and wanted to try another creative endeavor and do something that I could do during a pandemic. And so it's a hobby for me. I don't want it to ever become a job. I never want to feel like, oh, I'd rather be doing this, but I have to go do the YouTube thing, either film something or edit something. I never want to feel that way. And so far, I think in the last year, maybe once, I felt like, oh, I gotta go edit that video. Dang it. I don't wanna. Right? I never want that feeling. And so it has to remain a hobby for me. I'm not in it for the money. I'll talk about the money in just a minute. But so if I fear that if I try to get on a schedule, like I will post on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, or I will post on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever, I fear that one, I'll feel like I have to post on those days because I said I would. And two, what if I have more content that week? I mean, I generally just film what I'm doing and share it with you guys. So what if I end up with a week that has 7 days worth of content available? So I've hesitated to get into a schedule, but posting consistently is super important. Work on your video editing skills. Watch some of the other channels that you enjoy that are getting the views that you want to get and see what they're doing with their editing. It doesn't have to be fancy. Try to get rid of yourself saying things like, there's my little attempt at humor right there. I do a lot of umming in my videos, I know. I try to cut some of those out lately, but not really great at it. Listen to the feedback that your viewers are giving you. Look at the comments and look at the compliments that you get and try to do more of the thing that got you the compliment. Mainly though, I'll say just be yourself, do what you love, and things will fall into place. If you feel like you're already being yourself and doing what you love and things aren't falling into place, then maybe look at some of these other things like, what's your titling? Thumbnail look? Are you clickbaiting people with your titles? Hopefully not. Things like that. You can go to YouTube how-to sessions about how to grow your channel. I have watched a lot of those videos about how to grow your channel, how to be a good YouTuber, and I've implemented the things that make sense to me, and I've left behind the things that I'm like, that turns it into a job. I'm not going to do that. Okay, let me talk a little bit about my stats from this past year. Okay, so in the first full year, that's as of today, I had 250 videos, 517,000 viewing hours. No, let me just start over. Oh my gosh. Okay, 250 videos, 517,000 views, 82,000 viewing hours. I, as of this morning, had 4,542 subscribers. 76% of my subscribers live in the United States, 6% in Canada, 4% in the UK, 1% in Australia, and then the other 13% of my viewers come from 61 different countries around the world. Crazy. The top 5 videos, number 1 top video from the entire year was the winter sowing video from last February. Then creating a new garden space using no dig, part 2. Part 1 didn't get that much views. My backyard garden tour from July 1st, my summer garden tour from June 1st, and my all about clematis video. Those are my top 5 videos according to views The winter sowing has had 14,000 and some hundred views, and the clematis one, which was number 5, had 8,900 views, and then all the other videos are less than that. Most of them are 4,000, 1,000. A couple of videos, several videos still have less than 1,000 views on them. I've noticed that when I look at the top viewed videos on my channel, the things that viewers want to see the most of are garden tours and seed starting, whether it's indoors or in winter sowing. So last year I tried really hard to give a full garden tour on the first day of every month. I will continue to try to do that because people want to see. I know I want to see your gardens as they progress through the season. And then I will continue to put out videos about my struggles and successes with seed starting, winter sowing, indoors or otherwise. So again, I am not an expert. I never profess to be an expert. I just tell you what I'm doing. Maybe you'll find it useful. Excuse me. Monetization. Someone had sent me a message earlier in the week, or maybe it was a comment on the preview video for this live, asking about how much money I've made on YouTube from my channel. Okay, so first of all, these days in YouTube, your channel has to have more than 1,000 subscribers and more than 4,000 view hours before you can monetize. So I got to 4,000 view hours way earlier, way before I got 1,000 subscribers. I think that winter sowing video really bumped up my view hours a lot. I think a lot of people came, watched that video, my view hours up high. So January 29th, sometime in early part of June is when I hit the two metrics that I needed, the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 viewing hours. So early June is when I was able to put advertisements, AdSense is what it's called, on my videos. So I started earning money from ads on YouTube in June. Total, in the last 365 days, I've earned $2,738 from ads. So I am not paying my grocery bill and my utility bills and my mortgage and my car payment on YouTube, for sure. I am in no way becoming a full-time YouTuber. The way I view the money that's coming in on YouTube is, if my channel was not monetized by me, then YouTube would be selling ads and getting the money on my videos. And I figure if I'm eligible to earn the money off the ads that YouTube's going to put on my videos, then I might as well get it rather than having it go to YouTube. So I am not taking any strategies for how to get more money. I'm not going to anytime soon implement any more money-making strategies. I'm not going to offer super chat. I'm not going to offer memberships. I'm not going to do any of those money-making things because that's not my goal. I never want this to feel like a job. So the only reason I'm collecting money from ads is because somebody's going to collect money from ads off my videos. It might as well be me. So the money that comes in off of those ads, I am using to feed back into the garden and maybe buy a new camera or something like that. All right, so let me go back over here. Hi, Diane. Hello, thanks for watching. I hope you're doing it safely in the car. Let's see, other questions. Thank you to those of you who like how down to earth I am. I have to say, I think we all know the internet is a weird place. Just myself. I always try to just be myself. In fact, I think you can tell when I do a video where I'm trying to be a little bit more authoritative and a little bit more like I know what I'm talking about, those come off, to me at least, as less genuine and less interesting. I don't like editing those videos, and I don't like watching them back on a video where I'm trying to be like informative and you can trust me with this data because I've researched it and you can tell me, I can tell you some things and you can trust it. When I try to do that in advance, like I just did one on frost dates, that was really awkward for me. It wasn't a script so much as it was talking points on the computer in front of me. You might have, if you've seen that video, you saw that I had the laptop open in front of me. I was trying to talk off the cuff in a nice conversational way, but hit the data points that I had in my talking points. I researched that. I made an outline. It was awkward. I didn't like it. Why did I start talking about this? Down to earth. Yeah. So anyway, where was I going with this train of thought? Anyway, this is me. This is what you get. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Other questions? So I want to make sure that I say this on this video because it's so important for me to have you guys hear it. Sorry, I didn't say it earlier. Thank you. Thank you so much for not only coming to this live chat and participating in the chat over here. I see it flying by. I can't keep up with it. But thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for making comments on my videos. And thank you for subscribing and for your support. Oh, I know where I was going. Like 5 minutes ago, I mentioned something about how the internet is weird. People do things on the internet that is just like, really? Would you say that to my face? And most of you, in fact, the broad, vast majority, in fact, all of you except one person, has been so kind and so, most of the time on my channel, the comments are supportive or nice or, expressing gratitude for something that I've done in the video or something like that. 2 days ago, I had like a really unexpected experience with a commenter who commented very negatively, very vehemently, I think unfairly. What do you do with that? Like, what? I don't know what happened to make this person react the way they did on my videos, but it doesn't matter. I moved on. Thank you so much for being kind, for being generous with your time and energy, and for being a positive place to, to come for interaction on garden-related topics. I don't expect that everybody who watches my videos are going to agree with the things that I say or the things that I do or use the same methods that I use or even make the same decisions in the garden as far as plant choice and plant placement and how I plant things and all of that. Of course not. There's not only one way to do things in a garden. I mean, over eons, humans have been gardening with different methods and varying approaches and having success. So I never expect, one, that I know the best thing, and two, that you are going to agree with my thing. So thank you to all of you who have either chosen not to say anything when you disagreed with me or who have posted things in a positive and encouraging and constructive way. I'll just say that. It really means a lot to me that you do that. Thank you so much. So we're headed up onto an hour here. If there are any other questions, I would love to be able to answer them for you, hopefully. I imagine there are some questions that didn't get answered as we scrolled along. So if you want to restate them, go right ahead. Let's see. I'll see if I wanted to mention anything else about what I have planned coming up for this channel. I have done some like journaling, thought planning, strategic planning, kind of where do I want to go with this thing? And here's what I've come down to. I'm going to continue YouTube as my main focus. You might have seen a poll that I sent out in December asking, would you like to see me appearing more often on Facebook or on Instagram? Would you like more tie-in to those other social channels? The results of the poll said most of you wouldn't care about that. I'd do it if I want, but you wouldn't necessarily follow me over there. Some of you said you would, and some of you said, I don't remember. Anyway, the results of the poll were there's no need to go over to the other social channels. So I probably won't go heavy and strong into either Facebook or Instagram. And then there's that blog that I have hanging out at my website that is really empty. So I should probably draw that down officially. But anyway, I will be using more Pinterest. I have used Pinterest a couple of times lately in some of my videos. I think that's a nice way to have a visual reference for things that are happening that are not on YouTube. So I will be posting more pins onto YouTube. My words have failed. Onto Pinterest. But I'm not really, I'm going to dabble in Instagram. I'm going to dabble in Facebook, but I've done some looking into how to grow my YouTube channel using Facebook to market it. I'm not willing to do the things required to really have success there. Because again, I want this to be a hobby. So I'm going to post on YouTube, hopefully more consistently, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't want it to be a job. And I'm going to let Facebook and Instagram, maybe they'll grow because I feel like I want to invest there, but right now I don't. So we'll see. And I just wanted you all to hear me say what my values are in the garden. One, I try to be organic when I can. I'm not hard over strict on anything in my life. I think those of you who know me in person will agree. It's pretty much nothing that I am clearly black and white, must not kind of a situation. So I try to be organic when I can. I try to be no dig now when I can. Last year, you'll see I did a lot that was not no dig, but then I started as the year went on becoming no dig. I've learned more about it. So I'm going to try to do more no dig than not. I'm going to try to plant more natives. That doesn't mean I'm only going to plant natives. I want to plant other things too, but I'm going to try to put more natives in my garden. And I'm going to try to start thinking about how to be more water smart. So instead of dragging my hose around and watering by hand, I'm going to be putting in some drip irrigation, which is more cost effective, more water. What's the word? It uses less water. And I'm also going to try to start planting in ways that choosing plants that don't the same amount of water as some other plants, and also want to continue to work on my soil health. That's a big thing I want to do this year, is learn more about soil health and do more for my garden to improve my soil health. I'm going to stay true to my style. What is my garden style? Well, I am a plant collector at heart. I am not a fan. You might be a fan. That's awesome. Yay. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I am not a fan of like a house that's got the same thing planted out in front of it in a monoculture kind of situation, and then a big all of that is the same plant, and then all of that is the same plant. I want to have as many different kinds of plants in my garden as I can while not being too crazy chaotic, although I think I am crazy chaotic at the moment. I am a trial and error gardener, and I always will be. And design, as I've said earlier, is not my strength, but I continue to try to learn how to do better design. But I'm not going to stress about it. That's just the way it is. Okay, I will try to be frugal or thrifty or keep costs low when it makes sense to do so. But I do believe that it's important to invest in quality also. So things that I think will have a long-term investment that make a big impact over the long term, I'll invest. I'm not afraid to invest. I'm not afraid to hire out help if I know that they'll do a job for me and it'll last a long time, and so forth. And then just continue to try new things, new methods, new plants, new styles, new designs, new colors. I'm putting more red in my garden this year than I ever have before. I'm still not a fan of orange, but we'll see. Maybe I'll find a reason to put orange in my garden. Who knows? Overall, I want to just continue to try to learn and grow as a person in the garden and convey to you all on this channel what I'm learning and how I'm growing, and learn from you as well. And I want this to continue to be a place where people can feel comfortable asking questions or offering suggestions, or just enjoying, a little bit of peaceful time with their YouTube turned on, and maybe give you a little place where you can kind of zone out and watch me be silly for a while, and maybe lighten your day. So that's what I have in mind. I'm looking over here to see if there are any further questions, and if not, I'm probably just going to wrap this up. Yeah, we're right at the 1 hour mark. Vegetable garden. I don't have enough sun. That's just it. I just don't have the sun to support a vegetable garden unless I put it literally in the center of my front yard, which I'm not interested in the look of that. So I just don't have the space in the backyard. I do now and again put in tomato plants, or maybe I've grown cucumbers back there. I did some green beans last year. They struggle along. They give me some fruit, but it's not really a major thing. So in this property, vegetable gardens don't really work. Let's see, any more trips to Longwood? Yeah, we're members of Longwood, so we go up several times a year. I actually filmed some footage of their Christmas lights in December, and I just didn't get around to editing it and posting it. So, but yeah, we'll be back to Longwood for sure. And other places too. There's a thing, in the East Pennsylvania, Northern Delaware, Southern New Jersey area, in the Brandywine Valley, there are lots and lots of public gardens there. So I'm planning to try to hit more of those. So I'll bring you along too. Plants, plants, and more plants. Yes, me too. Let's see. Other questions. Thought about a highlights video answering questions. Yes, are you guys interested if I were to do a monthly live? Would that be good for you? Because I was thinking if I did a monthly live, then I could recap what happened in the last month briefly, not like the garden answer highlight recap, but more like just briefly, and then talk about what I'm thinking of for the upcoming month, and then answer questions. So that was a thought that I had. I don't know that I want to do a video of that. It feels like copying. Honestly, it feels like copying other channels, but maybe a live. I like these lives. I don't know. Do you like it? I don't know. How's this going for you? Let's see. Yes, yes. Is that a monthly live? You're answering me on the monthly live question. So if we did it on like the weekend closest to the first of the month, how's that sound? Something like that? Yes, definitely. Monthly live. Yes, yes, yes. Recaps and lives. Okay. All right. So I have at least 20 people here saying, yes, let's do a monthly live. So I'll plan that into my plans for the blog. Not blog. What are we talking about? YouTube. My plans for the blog are to draw it down and pretty much close up shop there. All right. So thank you. I am going to wrap this up now. I am so grateful to all of you who came to my birthday party. Yay! And allowed me to just speak to my video camera for an hour and giving me this little, endorphin boost over here as I see the chat going, ooh, that makes me feel like, yeah, this is working. So I am so grateful to all of you for attending my first ever live, and I'm so grateful to all of you for watching my videos, subscribing, and being such supportive and wonderful community of gardeners. I love what is happening here. Thank you to all of you who've been with me from the very beginning. There are a handful of you who, like, yeah, you've watched every single video and commented on every single video. So grateful. Thank you so much. I will be posting in the coming few days. I have filmed, but I still have to edit my winter sowing video. I don't know what else is going on this week. We're still under snow here, so not sure what topics are coming up. If you have suggestions on topics that you want me to cover, please put them in somewhere. You can message me somewhere, or I don't know, how's that work on YouTube? I guess you can comment on this chat and tell me what you want to see. And sometimes, like somebody asked me last year, would I do a video on composting? Well, no, I'm not going to do a video on composting because I am not a good composter. I am as bad a composter as the person who wants me to teach it. So I'm not going to teach something that I don't feel confident about. I'll show you what I do, probably. I think I already have, but yeah, I'm not going to film something that I have no experience with. So anyway, yeah, tell me what you want to hear from me. Otherwise, I'll just keep on keeping on. We're just going to do stuff around here. We're just going to, I don't know, buy a lot of plants, plant a lot of seeds, dig in a lot of holes, get a lot of dirty fingernails. That's what's happening around here. Thank you so much, folks. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I will catch you in another video real soon, friends. Take care. Bye.